Facebook released their first earnings report since going public in May. Hi there, I'm Lauren Rutzer in San Francisco, and joining me with all the details is MarketWatch technology editor Dan Gallagher. So Dan, we saw shares drop about 10% following the release of the report. What are we seeing in their earnings?
Well, I think the earnings were pretty much as expected. Revenue was right in line, a little bit higher. Earnings, the adjusted earnings was in line with what the street was looking for. So nothing really surprising in the actual numbers. I think there's been kind of a general negative sentiment about social media stocks. We saw after the big sell-off with Zynga, that was a read-through from Facebook. And so given the fact that they were results that were in line with no forecast and kind of the sour environment overall, I think that's what we're seeing weighing on the shares here.
So was CEO Mark Zuckerberg on the call, and what was said about the business going forward?
He was on the call, and he kicked it off and talked a lot about three initiatives: mobile, social ads, and building a platform. Which the company, these are the three things the company's really focusing on to drive its results going forward. Called mobile a huge opportunity. That's where the biggest growth is. So they're working hard at trying to find ways to make money off those users. So there's a lot of talk about kind of where they're going as a company. Not a lot of specifics in terms of what they specifically expect to see in terms of revenue this year or this quarter.
Did they mention anything about the IPO snafu or any of the lawsuits that are currently going on?
Not a word about any of that, and nobody really asked about that. I think that news is kind of out there and done. So we'll see, of course, what happens with various lawsuits and that. But I think they try to keep the call on the results and what the company's trying to do.
So shares have remained down since the call ended. What does it seem that investors are worried about going forward?
I think Facebook's still a young enough company, and there's not a lot of other models of this kind of business in there. So investors are still trying to figure out kind of how to value it, how to model it, and when the company doesn't give a lot of specifics in terms of what to expect, I think that adds to it. So you kind of, like I mentioned earlier, this sour environment for these stocks. Groupon, Angie's List, all these kind of social type stocks were all down today. So that, coupled with the fact that there's still a lot of uncertainty, they're clearly doing a lot, spending a lot, focused to build this, but not a lot of specifics to what to expect. I think that's what you're seeing weighing on the stock right now.
All right, thanks very much, Dan. I've been speaking with Dan Gallagher, and in San Francisco, I'm Lauren Rutzer.